Okay.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We are on week 24, day 1. First thing to do now is to check in with algebra number 4 with your teammates and the answer key on your table. Today's objectives: I can determine the first step and simplify expressions. What I noticed last week is that students are struggling to figure out what to do first. If you figure out what to do first, it can help you solve the rest of the problem. But if you're stuck on the first step, it makes it very difficult. So we're going to be focusing more on what to do first. Because once we figure out what to do first, the rest just becomes a domino effect. Our language objective, I can show math work for each problem, and a social objective, I can collaborate with my new teammates and ask for feedback at each checkpoint. For today's agenda, we'll do homework review, followed by integers quiz, what's first, what's next, then the worksheet, exit ticket, and planner. As always, for homework review, please check with your peers in the answer key, and then we'll review any problems as a class if you write any problems on the back of the board. If there are no problems, then you will just assign yourself a grade based on the homework rubric. Please make sure you give yourself a grade of a check minus, check, or check plus. If you're not done with it, do not turn it in and hold on to it. And that is it. So now that we're done with the homework review, we're going to do the integers quiz. In order to do algebra well, we have to be able to handle positive and negatives very strongly. And what I noticed with some students' work is that they're combining numbers that don't necessarily produce a negative answer or don't necessarily produce a positive answer. Today, I'm going to give you an 8-question quiz to get a sense of where everyone is at. You'll have about a minute to do the 8 problems. After you finish 8 problems, you just turn your paper over, okay? I need a sense of where you are at in terms of integers. It is a fundamental skill needed for higher level math. It's kind of like you can't read a book unless you know the sounds of letters. You need to know your integers down, okay? So before we talk about what's first in terms of simplifying expressions, I want to give you an example of a problem right here. Raise your hand if you know how to make a peanut butter sandwich. Just curious. Okay, it's okay, you don't know how. It's okay. You know how to make a peanut butter sandwich. Okay. So I want you and your teammates to talk to each other about what you would do first, what would you do second, what would you do third in making a peanut butter sandwich. There's a knife spreading the peanut butter. There's the toaster and the bread, and then there's the 2 slices of bread where you stick it on top of each other. Okay, so go ahead and discuss with each other. So I want to remind again students that there are 3 things when trying to make a peanut butter sandwich. There's the spreading of the peanut butter, there's the toasting, and then there's the bread slices where you put them together. Can I get a volunteer to raise their hand what they think the order is in making this peanut butter sandwich? We'll go with Yandel.
So first you take out bread, obviously, and you put it in the toaster. And then after that you wait for it to come out, and then you spread the peanut butter on.
Okay, so on these images, which do you think is first, second, or third?
Right. The toaster's first, then the bread, and the butter.
Then the bread, then the peanut butter.
Wait, no, then it's peanut butter, then the bread.
Toaster, peanut butter, bread.
No, it's bread first. Bread.
No, I'm confused. No, he's right. He is right.
Okay. Okay, let me get another. Did anyone have a different idea of how to make this peanut butter sandwich? Okay. Where I go, where to go? One voice, please. Go ahead.
Well, basically, what I would do is I get the bread, put it in one hand, get the peanut butter, spread it in the bread, and then spread peanut butter on the other bread and sandwich it. I don't really toast my bread, so.
You have to use all 3.
Then yeah, I do the same thing.
You do the same thing.
I toast the bread, wait for it, put the peanut butter, both sides of bread, whatever.
And then put it together. Okay, yeah. That is the way that you would make your peanut butter sandwich, as Yandel and Indigo said. You would first toast the bread, then you spread the peanut butter, then you put the two slices of bread together. What if we did the following? We put the peanut butter on the bread, closed it together, and then put it in the toaster.
Oh, yeah, then the peanut butter
What would
would
happen?
melted.
The toaster would mess up.
It would melt the peanut butter.
Why would it mess up?
Peanut butter, yeah, it will like go
I did that
all
one.
over the toaster.
Okay, so the peanut butter might go all in the toaster. Okay. What if I take the bread? Sorry, I want to make sure I'm saying things correctly. What if I have the peanut butter in the toaster, then take the bread and put it together?
No,
Bro.
What would happen?
you get warm peanut butter.
You
That's
get, you get warm peanut butter in the toaster,
and you're gonna mess up your toaster. You're gonna have to buy a new one.
and your bread would just look normal, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain order when we're trying to simplify expressions. You have to follow a certain order. If you don't follow a certain order, your toaster could get messed up or your peanut butter sandwich wouldn't taste good,
Yeah.
right?
So the peanut butter sandwich is like the answer there.
The peanut butter sandwich is the answer, but in order to get to the answer, you gotta follow step by step.
And
Correctly.
If you do one of those steps wrong, you get the answer.
You're gonna get the answer wrong. You're gonna get a nasty peanut butter or a broken toaster.
Why don't you just,
Or both.
Or both, yeah.
doesn't the bread go first, then the toaster, then the peanut butter?
Or I did that one.
So when we're simplifying expressions, we want to combine like terms inside the parentheses first. Okay, anytime you see parentheses, can you combine the like terms? If you can, do that first. After you combine like terms inside the parentheses, and if there are parentheses, you then want to distribute. And then lastly, you want to combine like terms. But it really depends on the problem because each problem can look very different from each other. What I want you to do next is I'm going to project a problem one at a time, and you tell me what we should do first. Should we combine like terms inside the parentheses? So you put one finger up. Should we distribute? You put two fingers up if you think that's the first step. Or should we combine like terms first if you think that is the first step? So that will be three fingers up. So I'd like everyone to vote 1, 2, or 3. What should we do first? Here's problem number 1. Well, go ahead and vote. 1, combine like terms inside parentheses. 2, distribute first. Or 3, combine like terms first. Go ahead and vote. So if you look inside the parentheses, can you combine like terms? No. Can we distribute the 5?
Yes.
Yeah, so with this parentheses, you want to distribute. Okay, so the very first step should have been distributing. That's the very first step. So with number 2, that's the very first step. You do not combine the negative 20 and 5. That's the last step. You can distribute first. Here's the next problem. Go ahead and vote.
Okay.
So this problem does have parentheses. So we know it has to be 1 or 2, right? You can distribute, but that's a lot of work. What we should do first is combine like terms inside the parentheses. So what can we combine inside the parentheses?
3 and 7. 3Z.
3z and 7z. Combine that first, and then distribute, and then we combine like terms. Okay, so combine inside the parentheses first, 3z plus 7z. Then we get 10z plus 5, and then we distribute the 4. Then you can combine like terms at the end. Last question. As you can see, each of these problems looks very different from each other. They're not the same. Raise your fingers up. So as you can see in this problem, there are no parentheses at all. So there's no parentheses. We can't do number 1, and we can't distribute number 2. So it's just combine like terms. Okay. Each problem looks different. You have to figure out what to do first. If you figure out what to do first, then the rest of the peanut butter making process becomes easy. If you don't do the right thing, you'll end up with a broken toaster or a nasty sandwich. Then incorrect answer in general. So we were focusing on how to do the first step correctly today. So today you're going to be working with your partner or teammates to reach each checkpoint. Every time you and your partner reach a checkpoint, or your teammates reach a checkpoint, call me over, and then I'll sign you off. There are 9 problems altogether, so 3, 6, and 9. and then we will begin. My turn. Okay, so I forgot to go over this. I want to make sure it's clear. I'll read the instructions, so please pay attention. Identify the first step to simplify each expression, then simplify the expression. Questions to ask yourself when you see a problem. Does the expression have parentheses? Yes or no? Can the expression inside the parentheses be simplified? Yes or no? And then what should I do first? Combine like terms inside the parentheses, distribute, or combine like terms. So you see in each problem, it tells you, it asks you, circle the first step. Should we combine like terms inside the parentheses, distribute, or combine like terms? So circle one of those first, and then simplify the expression, okay? Did I get that first step correct? Last 10 minutes of class, we'll reserve that for exit tickets. So go ahead and take out your computer and complete the exit ticket. It will be 3 problems. Your score will show up as 0 when you first do it, since it's free response, and it will be updated once we grade it. As for your homework, algebra number 5, the worksheet we did in class, as well as the exit ticket. For extra credit, you can do either the easy or hard version of factoring linear expressions. As always, please make sure you score 90 and submit screenshots for credit and post them on Google Classroom. Take care and have a nice day.